Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are getting another one of the Super Battle Road no item runs done from the new set of 10 that released on Christmas Day. For those of you new to these videos, this set of 10, I did do all of them on the first day, but obviously got to stagger the release of the videos. Can't just put up 10 videos on one day and have nothing to put out for the rest. So I'm trying to release them in the order that the stages are listed. If you look back on the channel, it's pretty much the same order that I released the team building guides and then the normal runs for as well. So this is the Universe 6 run. This one was actually pretty easy. I think this one was maybe like the second attempt. The only real difference to the team compared to the one that we used on the very initial run, where we did use items, was I replaced the Int support Kale with the Int Vados, which, I mean, I probably should have just used her the first time around, but I just picked Kale because of all of the Saiyan synergy that team has. But of course, when you're going for the no items attempt, that Kale does take a little bit too much damage, whereas Vados not only has the built-in 50% chance to dodge, but she also seals and lowers attack on her super attack. So she doesn't give ki with her support passive though, so sometimes it can be a bit awkward to get super attacks with her because she doesn't have the best links, because essentially the whole of the rest of the team is just the female Saiyans. So Vados is kind of the odd one out. But we are still rocking an all-female Universe 6 team. So, obviously, Tech Caulifla is one of the best units on the team for this run, because for the first two fights, you have a Universe Survival Saga or Pure Saiyan or both as one of your enemies. So she gets the 100% chance to dodge. So obviously, any turns where the multitude of attacks are stacked up in one place, we can just put her there and she's guaranteed to take no damage. And LR, Kale and Caulifla obviously are a powerhouse unit as well. They are rainbow for me now. So you can see here I targeted the Tech Android 18 despite the fact that we have type disadvantage. So as you can see here, if we're not critting, we're not doing crazy amounts of damage. But because they were guaranteed to fire off so many super attacks, I was confident that we could at least get one crit in there somewhere and finish her off, because obviously the LR, Kale and Caulifla, they do need to super attack a few times in order to actually build up their defense to then be able to tank without having items active. So I wanted to try and get rid of the tech enemy before they got a chance to attack us, and obviously that did work out well for us. So this run is a true testament to, I know a lot of people on Global were complaining for a long time. It took us so long compared to the schedule on JP to get the Extreme Z Awakenings for this AGL Caulifla and the Physical Kale, but obviously we got them just in time because they are ridiculously good on this stage as well. Like, pretty much every single unit on this team, apart from Kefla, and she is still good for it, but are incredibly good for Super Battle Road because they either have some kind of built-in dodge or some kind of damage mitigation. I mean, Kefla does have a chance to dodge if you pick up 6 orbs, but obviously you can find yourself in a situation where you literally just can't. And then, of course, she can't dodge, especially if, like me, you only have her at 55%. So she's got no dupes, no dodge in the hidden potential system. So, in fact, funnily enough, despite the fact we are running double Kefla leads, and Kefla is a good unit, I said back when I did my 55% showcase for her, I was actually genuinely impressed with how good she is without dupes. But when it comes to Super Battle Road and not having any items active, I think she's probably the biggest liability on the team, at least for these first two fights. And then, of course, when we get to the third fight, we fight Beerus and Whis, so we don't have a Universe Survival Saga or Pure Saiyans enemy. But whilst we do, this is the perfect turn and exactly what you want to see on a no items attempt like this. All of these attacks stacked up in the first slot. So Tech Caulifla, 100% chance to dodge. So we can target down the Freezer here with our type advantage and get off some additionals. I think she's one of the many Kayle and Caulifla units that benefits from having a unit with the opposite name on the same rotation. And of course we have LR, Kayle and Caulifla here, who is able to fill both of those roles depending on the unit that you're talking about that needs the requirement. So that's why we're running the opposite rotation. We have the AGL Caulifla and the physical Kayle. The AGL Caulifla does require a Kayle to be on rotation in order to get her full passive to activate, whereas the Kayle doesn't. But again, both of them so good for Super Battle Road. Caulifla raises her defense and has a built-in chance to dodge, and then Kayle has damage reduction as well as the ability to launch multiple super attacks. So both of them very, very good. And of course, because Caulifla raises defense and it stacks for like a couple of turns, she's only really a defensive liability on turn 1, and that's if she doesn't dodge or counter super attacks, which she can also do. But I mean, you see there, that's basically where we're going to take the most damage, is units like Kayle and Caulifla this early on in the event taking a super attack. But as you can see, the team has close to 500k HP. And I'm pretty sure that the Kefla friend isn't Rainbow. That's one thing I noticed when jumping straight in to these new stages, was some of the stages, there really weren't many leaders floating around. So in the few attempts that I had on this stage, because obviously we did the normal run with items, and then, like I said, I think this was the second attempt for the no items run, I didn't see any Keflas with more than one dupe come up on the friends list. So obviously she hasn't been back on a banner since her release on Global, so that's kind of understandable. I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact that Beerus could potentially be changed on the upcoming Frieza banner. And I think Kefla would make a good choice for that, as she is yet to return. Definitely would make that banner a little bit more hype for people. So we'll have to see how that goes. So Kefla 1.7 in her untransformed state, pretty decent. We're slowly but surely working down all of the enemies here. I've only got Gohan and Goku left. Obviously the main goal is to always try and keep the Pure Saiyan Universe Survival Saga enemy alive for as long as possible, so we can get all of those guaranteed extra attacks. So apparently Frieza was alive too, with the tiniest sliver of health. We did take quite a significant amount of damage in the previous turn, but fortunately Caulifla has the 100% chance to dodge. With the amount of super attacks that they're able to get in one turn, it's time to target Goku here with the LR, Kayle and Caulifla. And then just the sheer amount of attacks that they do, he's easily going to be taken care of. And that will leave us with only Gohan remaining. So additional attacks from Caulifla, able to wear him down a little bit more. And obviously if we take him out here, we don't have to worry about Kefla taking any attacks in the final spot. And then that frees her up to do a little bit of damage to Gohan as well. But as you can see, Rainbow, Kayle and Caulifla, no joke. So they straight away take out Goku and then move their attention over to Gohan. He is tech, of course, though. So if we're not getting crits, we're not really doing a huge amount of damage. But as always, we are going to be getting multiple super attacks with the LR here. So, yeah, I think that was their hidden potential one as well. So, as long as their full passive is active and you have dupes and have given them like a reasonable amount of additional, the sheer amount of times they can attack in one turn is just ridiculous. So, I think Kefla probably finishes off Gohan here now. Obviously, any one of those attacks from Kayle and Caulifla being crits, we probably would have taken him out already. But we get rid of him without having to take any more hits, which is obviously the main goal here. We're at what, 125k HP, so we're in an alright situation here, but this is where we got to start being careful, because we're not getting any of those passives activate now that require the specific enemy types, because there are no Universe Survival Saga enemies, no Pure Saiyan enemies, so we got to be careful how we work our rotations here. So on turn 1, Kayle is the better defensive option because of her built-in damage reduction, and then once Caulifla gets off a super attack or two, I believe her defense is quite significantly higher. I mean, technically her defense is always higher, the actual stat, than Kayle. Kayle's defense doesn't honestly look that impressive if you just look at her stats, but it's the fact that she has the built-in damage reduction that obviously comes into play. And so here we see her getting off the additional supers. We get the full God RNG turn. We get the actual 3 super attacks. So, including some crits as well. So that is a pretty significant start to the first turn. Basically taking off 3/4 of Beerus's health immediately. So, Caulifla, while she's not the hardest hitter, she comes through with the crit as well. And we've pretty much killed off Beerus on turn 1, which is pretty good. And then super attack from him. This must get dodged. Yep. And yeah, Caulifla just going to dodge everything apparently. So Vados, obviously if I'd realised we were going to do so much damage to Beerus, I wasn't really banking on the triple super attack turn from Kale there. It would have been smarter to retarget Vados onto Whis, because Beerus is obviously going to die this turn. So it'd be much more beneficial to have the surviving enemy be the one who is sealed and attack lowered. And so yeah, obviously this turn we can't really put Caulifla in slot 1, the tech one. And even, to be honest, even putting LR Kale and Caulifla in slot 1 is slightly risky, due to the fact that they haven't had a chance to build up yet. You see there from Whis, who wasn't attack lowered, they still actually took reasonable damage from a normal attack, but it's nowhere near enough. And so we take out Beerus. Of course, we don't get the guaranteed additionals here, so we didn't actually get any additionals at all. Because bear in mind, of course, units that get multiple additionals as part of their passive also have a higher chance to actually trigger that additional attack from the hidden potential system. So on those turns, you'll see them like super attack like 5 times. But then on turns like this, where their passive isn't activated at all, we didn't get any additionals, and they just get the guaranteed extra normal attack, which is the only 100% guaranteed part of their passive. And Caulifla coming in clutch with the dodge there from the super attack from Whis, which absolutely would have been game over if that had connected. Because remember, the tech Caulifla, as long as she's on a full Peppy Gals team with the other all these other Universe 6 Saiyan girls, she still does have a pretty reasonable chance to dodge as part of her passive. It's just not 100%. So that absolutely is was a run-saving dodge right there. And so, a little bit of overkill, but the Dokkan bar ready to go. So we'll go ahead and get the Dokkan attack with the STR Kefla. Obviously, out of everyone on the rotation, she's the one that's going to deal the most damage with one single attack. And obviously recording these on my phone, so it was a lot easier to actually hit the 7 nodes for the Dokkan attack. So she's at a 1.39, obviously nothing too crazy. The AGL Caulifla doesn't have Fierce Battle, but they're sharing a few links here. Obviously we've got the type advantage as well, which is very important. So this is going to do a pretty decent amount of damage. Yeah, 1.6 on the crit. I think probably the best bet would have been to get the Dokkan attack with LR Kale and Caulifla, but we obviously had no control over that. It was ready to go on this turn. So still did a pretty decent amount of damage. Funnily enough, Kale has a much higher attack stat. So we'll see if she can get some extra additionals here. Just get the 2 normal attacks, no extra super. And then she takes 470 damage. Like, this team is just so good. Obviously, if you can't run this exact team setup, you still have some decent options like that. Free-to-play Int Kale that I talked about at the beginning. She's still good for the team. You just have to be careful with where you put her on your rotations, because she's not the best tank. Units like the Int Bota Magetta is actually pretty good as well. He can serve as a pretty decent tank. Physical Champa is obviously a good support unit for the Universe 6 team, but again, he himself is not all that great, especially defensively. But yeah, making this just full like Saiyan Girls team with Vados there for the support absolutely crushes this stage. And LR Kale and Caulifla are going to come in here for the finishing blow on Whis. So there you go. That is the Universe 6 stage of Super Battle Road beaten with no items used. This was definitely one of the easier ones out of the new ones. I would put it quite near the bottom on the scale. I don't know if I would say it's the easiest one, but obviously the fact that in fights 1 and 2 you have units that just get like guaranteed insanely powerful passives, that really helps. So this definitely is one of the easier ones. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you have beaten this stage, let us know what teams you used. And yeah, we'll get the next No Items run out very soon. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the link to my Discord in the description. Feel free to join in the fun over there. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.